Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing really well, and I am so glad to finally be back here live. I just want to thank everybody who's been honestly, checking on me and looking out for me. I really appreciate you all here in this community. I've been sick for about a week and just been doing mostly, the basics of self-care and also, excuse me, some of, just the day-to-day with life and clients and business and all that, but not anything extra. So as much as I've missed being here live with you all, so I appreciate you again checking in. And today I just want to remind everybody, I know a lot of us are kind of dragging in, to the end of the year, being honestly tired, maybe kind of just feeling blah, being sick, whatever's been going on, overcoming some big stuff. Yet again, whether it's been sickness, projects, transitioning from one level of care to another, whatever's been going on, basically hang in there and continue to not be ignoring your needs. And let me just give a few examples. So if this weekend's going to be quieter, yay, but be very intentional about it, because sometimes we can have the quiet time we've been hungering for so long, and we kind of end up maybe getting a little bit dorsal, a little apathetic, versus if you're going to rest, really make it restful and not be ambivalent about it. Like really let yourself have the kind of rest you need. If it's that you need to change your eating situation to have more space to feel yourself inside, if you need to have more fun, plan that in. If you're in a lot of social or family situations that feel hard, it's time to start taking back some agency here and saying, I need more space. So more bathroom vacations, sleeping in, not to be totally avoidant, but just to get really clear about, like, I need more space to feel myself, to keep my boundaries, to not merge with like old behavior patterns, fawning, all that, right? So I think that's the gist of it, is do not abandon your needs. Do not reject yourself. Do not, just telling you, because if you've already had a hard time when there's more expectations or more worries about what other people think, again, we're a higher level likely to get even more disembodied. And you all have worked too hard to undo so much of that, right? So, excuse me. I'm just giving you a little bit of a reminder today that feet, seat, and back, get really, really clear today about what your needs are. That way, as we roll into this weekend here, and I know not everybody celebrates everything, but just in general, if life has been really busy and you're finding yourself not very gracefully coming down from all the busyness and checking out, let's turn that around today. Get really, really grounded around what would feel good. How do I want to spend my time? What have I been hungering for? Whether it's connection, quiet, just a book that you've always wanted to read that you haven't given yourself time and permission to do it. And it's time to do that. If it's time to kind of get back to maybe some cooking, because you've been kind of living off of, and this is good, and this is okay, me too. I've been living off easy and convenient, because we've been so sick, everybody here, and we're all kind of starting to come out of it and, hungering for home cooked meals. And so I ordered plenty of groceries today, and I'm going to go pick those up here soon, to enjoy just the presence of that activity. So yeah, it's really important that we're, one, getting landed enough to get clarity about what to reach for and what to take in, so you can get satisfaction, whatever it is in your life right now. All right, we got a comment here. So ignoring my needs is something I've been doing. I'm caring for everyone else except myself, and then wonder why I get angry. Yeah, and that becomes a pattern. That becomes kind of a habitual way of life. And looks like, Jennifer, the only way out of that is through, and that means no's, and that means boundaries. And you're not really serving people by being codependent at the end of the day, because they don't get to grow. And you continue not to feel valued. And now that you're having this realization about it, it's figuring out where your easiest no's are first and going from there. It's going to be mandatory, and especially if you're going to get out of this cycle, it's time to make a move. So I want to thank you all so much for being here this morning. If anybody has any other comments or questions, I have a few more minutes before I hop off, but I would love to hear from you all. What are some needs that you are noticing kind of bubbling up as we're talking that have been neglected? Again, needs for some more purposeful time, joy, play, connection, food, to slow down, or maybe to get something started that that needs to happen, that it's good for you, but there's a barrier here, and it's getting clearer and clearer. And a barrier can be anything: not feeling that your needs matter, not speaking up, even sometimes believing negativity. A lot of times we have these movies, I call them healing blockers, where it's like, is this reality or is this old story, like delusion? What is this? That everybody's going to think I'm selfish if I get my needs met, that everybody's looking at what I'm doing, that it matters a whole lot what other people think. What is happening? I need space and being able to have some alone time, which I never get. Well, who is that Jennifer? That's on you. It's really time to start, like, I'm not doing this activity. I'm going to be gone for an hour. I'm going to be gone for 2 hours. And no one's going to give that to you. And it's time for you to say that you need it and allow that. And being okay with people being disappointed. I think this is a healing barrier. It's like sometimes we try to keep care of people's feelings. And, well, we can only get better treatment if we start teaching people how to treat us. And sometimes the initial no causes some feathers to be ruffled and some disappointment, but people will be okay if you say no. They will adjust, they will move on. They might complain. That's hopefully that's the worst. They'll complain. But that's okay. We've had many times in our own lives where people said no to us, or we got disappointed, or maybe hurt, and we got through. Danielle says the hardest part is communicating our needs. That's right, because if you've got a history of having to be overly more adult-like and mature than you should be at a certain age, that's going to happen. And you start to believe the lies that, like, my needs don't matter, nobody sees me, nobody cares. Or if you grew up in a family that's we don't do emotions. Like, you can be happy, but don't even do too much of that. Only certain people got to feel certain emotions and you didn't, or whatever. But it's time to unblend from that as adults, that this is the way it is all the time now. It's time to start to take some risk. Step 1, slow down enough to recognize, oh, I want to make cheeseburgers. So that means I need the ingredients for that in my house. And where do I know has the best ingredients for that? And maybe I have to make a list and not to get overwhelmed, and pick the time of day at the store where it's least overwhelming to get the things I need, and then go and start to reach for those needs. And then make the food and provide it in a way that you can take it in and digest it and have a satisfying experience. It's a whole cycle, as you see, Danielle. But it's got to start with us, right? If you don't get clear about what your needs are and work with the barriers that are basically trying to sabotage either acknowledgement of that or guilt about that, you'll never get it out of your mouth. So step 1 is like, what do I really want and need? What does that look like? What things are happening right now as I'm thinking about my needs that are trying to sabotage that? And like, oh, I'm hearing in my head that, like, if I ask for this and this, that's going to be too much trouble for somebody. It's a burden for somebody. Okay, that's childhood neglect. We can't listen to that because, one, we're in 2022 now, and we're big, we're grown up, and we have to unblend from that part of us that kind of came to believe that because maybe that was the felt experience. But we're relatively capable enough to like, actually it's not too much that I get that quiet time. I make that nicer meal. I get that takeout meal. Whatever it is. There's a little bit, we gotta like get clear and then start to question, well, who says? What are these negative tapes? And if you have to make a list, I have people make lists all the time. What is it you're hearing? Like, wow, I hear this. This takes up so much space. It's no wonder I don't get my needs met. It's no wonder like it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's like certain things hijack me. And those are, again, body memories. We get trauma hijacked by our thoughts or about our defensive strategies. And then we get frustrated. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, nothing's wrong with you. You've got some defensive strategies that are trying to keep you in some false safety from the past. And it's not congruent with our here and now potential, to get our needs met. So thank you for sharing that, Danielle. That can be the hardest, but it's only hard based on some beliefs, not maybe based in what we're actually capable and competent to do. So I want to thank you all so much for coming. If anybody else has anything before I hop off, please let me know. And I appreciate y'all coming this morning and hopping on. And I didn't really know if there would be any audience because it's a Friday and I usually don't hop on Fridays, but I've missed so long. I was missing being on and connecting with you all. So I hope those of you who came late, you will please go back to watch the whole thing, take some notes. If you want to come back and tag me, I'd be happy to chat with you and in that kind of way and answer your questions. Or if you're clear about some kind of barrier that you have in your system about getting needs met, then please put that in the comments below. Please do not use these videos as something you just listen to and like the info just kind of drops on the floor. Like I do videos as like an act. It's active. These are the expectation when you do these videos that you take this in, you chew on it, and really, really chew on like where are my barriers and what do I need to like have my back to work through these barriers as well. They're really, these videos are really meant for the people who are ready to like really contemplate and take some action. So I hope that's you watching this and I want to hear about your journey. So please put that in the comments below as well. So I got a few more things. Ophelia, yeah, I do sound better. Every day's been a big jump, so that's really nice. Thank you for sharing that. Ashley, I appreciate you naming spaces that don't allow emotions beyond happy. Yeah, for me, finding spaces that allow me to be full, whole human with sadness, anger, joy has been huge. Yeah, for sure. I'm getting ready to take some time off versus the traditional holiday filled with lots of quietness for my naturally sensitive nervous system. Me too. Y'all, I plan on doing as little as possible in the next 2 days for sure, 2.5 days. And there's going to be 1 day next week of nothing as well, and no activities, no visiting, just some joyful things, joyfully quiet things. I'll just put it that way. That's the hope. Or maybe not even joyful, just maybe quiet and serene. I'm not sure. To fully get a little more healed as well as like, that's just what my system needs as well. And no people pleasing. That ain't happening. So thank you for Ashley for sharing that experience. Nikki, I'm feeling like I can't get a deep breath, struggling with anxiety or something. Yeah, I'm sorry. I would just put your hand, and orient to what is like relatively good or safe enough in your space. Maybe really push in with your feet and relax. And just feel yourself that you're here in 2022 and it's hopefully in the space you're in, you're relatively safe enough. If you're actually not safe, get out of your situation, of course. Go out in your car, take a drive. If you're safe enough to do that, whatever's going on here. And just notice that you have your here and now adult self and other resources that you have right now. And just let us know, Nikki, how you're doing. Jane says, glad you're feeling better. Yeah, I mean, not 100%, but it's better. Mostly now it's just kind of trying to catch up from all the lack of sleep. That sometimes when you're sick, you can't sleep, and here I am, and looking forward to getting to that. So anyway. Ophelia says, met with a counselor, talked about having cookies. Yeah, you're not a cookie monster. It is nothing wrong with liking cookies. I love cookies, and your house should be filled with food that you love and enjoy. And so you have satisfaction. And that's what a compassionate, nurturing, tending adult self would do for another human being. And no name calling included. It's like, no, I'm a person who likes cookies, so they need to be available, and I'm going to eat them in a way that feels really satisfying. I don't have to eat them all right now because they're there for me tomorrow or in 2 hours. I don't have to save them either. So really good. All right. Well, Nikki, before I hop off, I want to see how you're doing here. Make sure you're okay. Nikki says, that was helpful to do it with you and be reminded in the moment. I got my mind often blanks. Thank you. I'll keep going back to that. Just put a hand, push your feet through the floor, orient to nature, something good, something that makes you feel at least neutral, if not relatively safe enough. Yeah. And a lot of people are feeling burnout, and that is important. So if anybody here is having that feeling and thought that you're burnout, that means there's been too much and not enough. And so if this is a common occurrence, how can we keep ending up here? Because people who continuously stay burned out, that means that they're staying in autopilot, and you're going to have to literally be very, very, very intentional about your day and about your life. And I'm going to call this holy discipline. Is that if you know that you're struggling with I'm feeling really stuck, I'm feeling in this trauma vortex, I go blank, I don't know what to do. It's all right, go back to some of my videos about the basics. Food, safe enough connection, boundaries, space, food that's nourishing but that's not hard, and be relentless about it. That's the only hope. I mean, I know those of you who watched my videos a really long time, I've been in a very, very, very bad burnout phase about 12 years ago. And I just had to surrender to nothing is going to get me better doing the things I still do. So it was more food, more frequent meals, lots more rest, napping every day. And I still had a life. I had a very young kid at the time, and my practice, and I had to cut back on the practice and get more support for naps. And it wasn't convenient. Not great timing in my life. And I had to surrender all of that. Of course, supplements and, all the kind of things too. But, that took 9 months. And it was slower than I wanted it to be. I think there's a level of we kind of still want to do what we're doing and also be well. And we have to recognize the kind of thinking and the kind of behavior that got us to this place of burnout won't get us out of it. So if you're feeling that way today, anybody watching, whether it's just been in your recovery or it's just been in kind of the flow of life, and it feels or the heaviness of what's going on around us in our world, it's there's a level of taking it all back, eliciting the little bit of energy you might have left to I'm doing the basics because I've got to get better. And I don't have the right word, but I'm feeling this kind of armoring up in a good way of I've got to be a commander in this, basically. And if you don't get out of the autopilot, it won't end. You're just gonna get sicker. I've been there. So, and that's the message I've been trying to push all fall, because I've noticed a lot of people have been in just autopilot and in apathy about whether parts of the recovery, thinking that they're doing better than they are. It's time to really, really kind of mentally reset of am I happy with how things are? And if the answer is no, then time to get like, okay, what parts and what needs to change and what support do I do? And maybe it's doing less. Maybe it's recommitting to the things that actually work and saying a lot more no again. That could be all there is to it. So, all right. Well, I talked longer than I thought, and I really appreciate so many of you coming today and checking in and maybe getting some nourishment from this. I'm really happy so that I could be here and feel a little better to offer this. And it's definitely been a gift for me, and hopefully it was a gift to you today as well. So thank you all so much for watching. Anybody who came on late, please go back and watch the beginning. Take some notes. I would love to hear it, and I'm going to challenge you all to like take some time today, tomorrow. There's more space in most people's day the next 24 hours. Take some time to rewatch this. It's a short video, it's like a mini coaching, and take some notes about what's working, what's not, what needs to shift, what is missing that you might need, and then name that here, and I'll be happy to offer some suggestions, that are obviously appropriate for online and, direct you to directions you need to go. So thank you all so very much for watching, and I will see you all in some lives next week. Take care, and bye for now.